Hey everyone, I'm Zeb. I serve with the student ministry here at the River Church, and today I want to talk a little bit about God's purpose for our lives. Do you feel God tugging on your heart right now to do something? Is the Holy Spirit leading you into anything? Do you feel a purpose that God has for you? The truth is that God has a unique plan and purpose for each of our lives, and that is a purpose built upon building up God's kingdom, not our own lives, not the purpose that we want, but God's kingdom. Now just stop and think for a moment. Are you really living that purpose out? Are you really living out God's purpose for your life? Now, confusion and fear are two of the biggest causes that make many people miss God's purpose or plan for their life. There are many different things, but confusion and fear are two of the big ones. And the first chapter of John provides a lot of insight on this. The first chapter of John shows that God's purpose for our lives is really not as confusing as we make it out to be a lot of the time. If you go with me to verse 40, it says, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, was one of the two who heard what John had said and who had followed Jesus. The first thing Andrew did was to find his brother Simon and tell him, "We have found the Messiah, that is the Christ," and he brought him to Jesus. Wow. So the first thing that Andrew did was find his brother and tell him about Jesus. And then if you look forward a little bit to verse 43, we see Philip. The next day, Jesus decided to leave for Galilee. Finding Philip, he said to him, "Follow me." Philip, like Andrew and Peter, was from the town of Bethsaida. Philip found Nathanael and told him, "We have found the one Moses wrote about in the law and about whom the prophets also wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph." Both Andrew and Philip show us that sharing Jesus is one of the main purposes that God gives to those who believe in him. If you are confused about where God might be calling you right now, if you're not sure what your purpose really is in life, I encourage you to start with just sharing Jesus, sharing your faith with other people, just like the early disciples did. The Lord will handle the details as you go along doing so. Now, once you understand God's purpose for your life, fear of being unqualified to do that purpose begins to arise inside many of us. I know I'm very guilty of that. Now, if you come with me, the first chapter of John also has something to say about that. In verse 47, it says, "When Jesus saw Nathanael approaching, he said to him, 'Here truly is an Israelite in whom there is no deceit.' Nathanael asked, 'How do you know me?' Jesus answered, 'I saw you while you were still under the fig tree, before Philip called you.'" Here we see that Jesus knew who Nathanael was before he had even had any face-to-face encounter with him. Because he's God. This is why there is no reason to fear living out the purpose that God has for you. He already knows who you are. He already knows your past. He would not have given you a purpose that he knows you cannot handle. Isaiah 44 verse 2 actually says that God formed you together in the womb. So he knows who you are. You are capable of living out the unique purpose that he has given you. And not only does God know who we are right now in this moment, but he also knows who we will become. Jesus told Simon that his name would eventually be called Cephas. Here, in verse 42, it says, "You are Simon, son of John. You will be called Cephas," which when translated is Peter. Now that means rock. Why did Jesus do this? Because he was focused on who Peter would become in the future, not who he was in the moment. So God not only knows who we are now, but he can see who we will become in the future. Peter went on to become the rock of the early church and do amazing things, which is why Jesus renamed him that. Now, God is not worried about who we are right now or what our past looks like. I cannot emphasize this enough. He sees what you can become. He sees the potential that you can surpass, that you can live out when you are living with him, when you are allowing his Holy Spirit to guide you. Now, as we enter into this time of prayer today, I want to invite you guys to just go to a quiet space with a journal and ask God a couple of questions. Ask God, what is my purpose right now? Ask Him, who do I need to share Jesus with? Why am I afraid to fully live my purpose out? And who do you want me to become? Listen to where the Holy Spirit is guiding you and write down whatever thoughts or feelings come in this time.